All right, here we go. It's another edition of Fox 10 Talk Sports, the fun stuff. I've loosened up the tie, kinda. We're getting casual.
I'm always casual.
Here. I like the shirt.
Thank you,
World
sir.
Series, D-back World Series.
Richard got this for me at the World Series. I appreciate that.
Guys,
we worked for like 28 days straight together that year, a couple years ago, and that's it. That's it.
Right? Hey, but the Suns, they earned that win. They're actually above 500. They're playing well. Let's talk Suns basketball. And more importantly, Grayson Allen. Jalen Green goes out. Tough blow, right? He hurts his hamstring once again. But, man, Grayson Allen, 10 three-pointers, career high, 42 points. That's a franchise record. He just seems like a good fit for this team.
Yeah, and 2 weeks into the season, how many times are we going to hear you say the word win?
Yeah, right.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice to hear, and it's fun to watch Suns basketball again. But Grayson Allen, it's funny because I was thinking about this today when we were talking about the Suns before the season, about like maybe he's the trade piece. Maybe he's the guy they got to move. And you're like, what are you doing? You can't get rid of Grayson Allen. And it's nice to see he's kind of back to where he looks like Grayson Allen. He's not bulked up. He looks like a guard that can make plays and shoot the ball. And he's a stud, man. He is a sharp shooting NBA player. He needed to be in the right system, and I think this is the system that fits him best. A heavy guard lineup where he's going to get a lot of open looks because Devin Booker is going to command all that attention. And it almost looked like layups for him the other night.
I know.
10 threes. 42 points, and he only
Pelicans,
played.
We got to remember that.
Well, but he played 23 minutes.
Yeah.
I think back to the Cedric Ceballos days, the point-a-minute man.
Yeah.
But this was more than a point a minute.
Right.
He was just dialed in, and it's good to see.
And what I liked was as he got closer to the record, Devin Booker was the one that knew, look, the franchise record's 10. His teammates wanted him to succeed. They were so excited for him. They were looking for him. They were wanting him to break the record. And during the post-game, interview, Mally, it was Jalen Green who actually, kind of crashed the party. It was pumped up for him. That's a sign of good chemistry, a good culture, and players that care for each other. And that's kind of what, BG, Brian Gregory, and Jordan Ott were talking about when they said they want these people aligned, these players to be aligned.
And that's to your point, too. I think that's what Jordan Ott brings to the table, too, is you have to have a coach that's willing to say, you know what, we're up by 500 points. Yes. You don't need to be in the game.
Right.
But all the guys are rallying around you. We know you need one bucket. You need 1 3. Let's get you in. Let's run a play. Let's get that. And it just helps the vibe.
It does.
The coach Jordan Ott could have very well said, you know what, we're done. This game is in as Al McCoy would say, it's in the old deep freeze. We don't need, let's just run our rookies out there. Let's get them some time. But to do that shows, as a player, if I'm a player and my coach does that for me, that goes a long way.
I think so.
I think it goes a long way in the locker room for sure.
And they still have a lot of injuries, right? Dylan Brooks hasn't played. Jalen Green has only played 1 game, but boy, when he played, he looked fantastic. He had the best Suns debut ever. Yeah. And it's funny, people were kind of worrying about how him and Devin Booker would coexist. It seemed, it's just 1 game, obviously a very small sample size, and you got to be careful with these hamstrings because they linger. But when he comes back, he could be a major boost offensively for this team.
But when your son's debut is compared to Charles Barkley,
I know.
That's when you know you did something special. And he is super athletic, and you need your legs.
Right.
And you need your hamstrings. So it's almost like 6 weeks, okay, that sucks, but maybe even go a little bit further and make sure that thing is 100% before he gets out there. He's only 24 years old.
I know. He was the number 2 pick in the draft.
And that's the thing. It's like, think about if you were the number 2 pick in the draft this year. As a 24-year-old kid, you'd be saying, wow, this rookie's really good.
You'd be Dylan Harper.
But listen, he went to the G League.
Right.
He played there.
Didn't
played with Houston. Yeah. And so he's been a pro for almost 4 years, almost like Devin Booker when he came in at 18, 19 years old. What was Devin Booker like year 5, 6?
I know.
Really good.
Right.
So this is great for the Suns organization, I think.
Yeah, and you're talking about, the number 1 pick, number 2 pick. Suns in action tonight, taking on the Dallas Mavericks. Number 1 pick, Cooper Flagg. Boy. It's amazing how things have changed for the Dallas Mavericks, right? They had Luka Doncic, they trade him, and then all of a sudden you get Cooper Flagg with the number 2 pick. Now they fire Nico Harrison, their GM. Boy, things are not looking good in Big D, and this could be another win for the Suns.
I think so, and it's weird because they have Cooper Flagg kind of playing like a point forward position, which is
Kyrie Irving's hurt.
And you're throwing a lot on that kid's plate to run an offense. He needs to be a guy that's somebody's facilitating for him, and he's the guy that takes the shots, but instead he's trying to create. It is a weird combination in Dallas, and they're going through it right now, especially with Anthony Davis hurt, but maybe probable tonight. I don't think he's going to play, but if he does, how effective is he going to be? But yeah, bizarre that Dallas, it's almost like the NBA is like, can you just get Luka to LA for us? Because we want to boost the market, and LeBron's going to be gone soon. And yeah, you have a 1.5% chance of winning the draft lottery, but we're going to go ahead and make that a 105% chance of winning the draft lottery, get you Cooper Flag. But Nico Harris, it's like he did what the owner wanted, but the fans just point the finger at him, and it's like, what are you going to do? It's the NBA. That's how it goes.
Yeah, the owner's not going to fire himself.
Nope.
So they had to make a change and make the fans happy. But, I went to, I love going to Las Vegas for the Summer League, and I saw Cooper Flag play, and I was like, boy, this guy's going to be something special.
Yeah.
I just think he's in the eye of the storm right now. And when you're the number one pick, you have a target on your back, and guys are gunning for him. But once they get Kyrie Irving to kind of help, with the facilitation of the ball, and he can just be the Cooper Flag that we've seen, in college. I think he's going to be just fine.
Oh, and he's been playing against NBA players in pickup games for probably 3-4 years.
Right.
Even since he was 15, 16 years old. He fits.
Right.
It's not like he came in the NBA and he's an Anthony Bennett and he's a complete bust. The kid can play, and he's going to have the games where he scores 30, 35 points.
And looks like
the guy.
Yep.
And then there's going to be games where he scores 12 points, and he struggles and shoots 4 of 15 from the field. But guess what? He's a rookie.
Yeah.
But he's a really good rookie.
Yeah, and speaking of young players, one guy that's young that the Suns were high on when they traded for him was Mark Williams. And I'm like, yeah, but he's always hurt.
Yeah.
But boy, he looks like a perfect fit and as good as advertised from GM Brian Gregory when he was really hyping him up. I'm like, all right, well, let's see what he can do. And so far, so good. They're wanting to get a good 60, 65 games out of him.
Sure.
But if that's the case, then Kevin Malerich, your number one pick, has to get on the floor. And I know they want to bring him along slowly because he's a young kid too.
Yeah.
But I'm anxious to see what this guy can do.
Yeah, and I think they're like you said, they're going to bring him along slowly. But Mark Williams, I mean, he is fantastic. Like if you put DeAndre Ayton on the nameplate. That's what I thought DeAndre Ayton was going to be. Exactly. A monster on the glass, aggressive, playing defense, super athletic.
I know.
At his size, he's got great touch.
Yeah.
I think it's a huge upgrade, and I know now why the Lakers really wanted him last year. Yeah. And then when that trade didn't go through for Dalton Knecht, it's like, okay, well, thank you.
Yeah.
But now we picked up both centers from the Hornets last year.
Right.
You have Nick Richards too. But I think Malerich maybe right now is almost like a luxury. He's like insurance. Let's say Nick Richards were to go down. Okay, now you've got him. And so I don't think he's going to get a lot of playing time, which does suck to hear that because he's your number one pick.
Right.
But if you're not going to play him, then why not send him to the G League and let him get some run? Let him get some run.
That's what they're doing with Kobe Bryant, the kid that can shoot. But, maybe they're because they think we're going to eventually start playing him because they want to, not tax Williams, so early. So I think we might see Malerich start to play a little bit here. But I'm just, I'm like that cartoon where the guy's praying to God. He's like, I want some patience, but give it to me right now.
Right. Well,
I want to see it right now.
But in games like the other night where we were talking about it was a blowout against the Pelicans. It wasn't even close. Yeah, you're going to put him in for the last 4 minutes of garbage time. Why not put him in the entire fourth quarter?
Yes.
The game's already in hand. Let him play an entire quarter.
Yeah.
Let him see what it's like to be in an NBA game, get up and down. Maybe he hits a couple threes, almost like when Bol would come in and the crowd goes crazy, except this kid can play.
And this kid wants to play.
And he wants to play, and he's going to be legit. So, give him a little more run, I think.
Right. We got some people in the chat. Billy says he's a big Suns fan. Sarah Phillips, she says, I'm your biggest fan, Sarah. You're the best. Lionheart says, let's go Suns. And she's excited to see Cooper Flag play as well. So, a lot of people want to see this Cooper Flag kid. I'm excited to see him play, too. And I'm excited to see the Suns, continue to stack wins. It wasn't that I was excited to see the Cardinals on Monday night get a win, but not even a week later.
No.
On the 6 days later, oh, boy, reality hit you hard, bro.
Jekyll and Hyde. I'm telling you.
Man, Seattle, the Seahawks are good.
They are very good. And they're well coached. And, I was listening to, 98.7 this morning. They were talking about how, I think it was AQ Shipley was saying that the blitz design that Seattle was running, that nobody's ever seen. Nobody's ever seen what they were doing. So how do you prepare for it? But the fact that they had the same guy strip the ball from Jacoby Brissett and the same guy recover, like we were watching the game and we're like, what is happening right now?
And they only threw one pass in the second half.
I know.
They didn't have to throw.
What did he throw? 12 passes?
12 passes total.
Yeah.
They sacked Jacoby Brissett 5 times. Look, Jacoby Brissett has given this offense a major boost at that position, but he cannot continue to get hit and sacked at this rate.
Yeah.
He got sacked 5 times against Seattle, 5 times against Dallas, 6 to Green Bay, 18 in his 4 games. He's not going to last.
Well,
if he gets hit like
doesn't get any easier this week now. Marvin Harrison's out.
Yeah.
So Marvin Harrison Jr.'s out. Appendicitis. So he had and Zay Jones, you could see in that replay that it was just a pop, very similar to like the Tyrese Halliburton injury and all these ones that we've seen. You know, the Kevin Durant one, even where it just you know, like you hate to see that. So, I mean, they're gonna have to run the ball, and the offensive line really needs to get it together this week. And I think, you know, Trey McBride's probably going to get bracketed the entire game because he is your number one, but he's been fantastic and like 5 touchdowns this season.
I know.
You know, with Jacoby Brissett,
I know.
He's getting
2
the ball
in 1
more.
game for the first time since college.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like, you know, the tight end that's, you know, the number 1 tight end in the league, Pro Bowler for the next 10 years.
I should have had him on the chimichangas, but I was worried about, you know, taking him so early. But yeah, it's funny to see, you know, the similarities between the Arizona Cardinals and the Sun Devils because the injuries are piling up, right?
Yeah.
I said it during the 6 o'clock show that the Cardinals look like a mash unit more than a football team. But the Sun Devils have had a bunch of injuries. We're going to talk about that in the next segment. But the difference is this ASU football team, they continue to win, and the next man up mentality is working for them. And I think that's a major credit to Kenny Dillingham and the culture change there in Tempe.
Yeah, I think the difference between the pros and college is I think in college when you have your second string or third string, those guys are 4-star recruits, 5-star recruits also. So they're just waiting to get their opportunity. So maybe the drop-off isn't as much, maybe obvious experience, but talent maybe not so much. But in the NFL, when you go from James Conner to Michael Carter, it's a little bit of a difference, you know. And then the line, you know, banged up trying to block for a different quarterback, not Kyler Murray who's running around, and now you got Jacoby Brissett. So, you know, there's little differences there, but you know, I mean, we'll see how they respond this week. Yeah,
and you talk about quarterback, you know, and major players, NFL players, the Sun Devils have lost a couple. We'll talk about ASU and that leadership council and the injuries coming up right after the break. All right, we are back. It's our second segment of Fox 10 Talk Sports. We've already talked Suns basketball, Cardinals football. We got Mark Malerich here. Now let's talk about the Sun Devils. So, look, I know a lot of people, they got spoiled last year, and that was a magical run. Unbelievable. One for the ages. But I think that, it was ahead of schedule for Coach Kenny and his kids. And so I had a feeling this year they might get 9 wins, 10 wins. And I remember I was talking to Steve Nielsen about it. He's like, that's going to be a step down from last year. I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, they're got a target on their backs. People are going to be gunning for them. But still, I think so far 6 wins, 3 more games, all winnable games. If you win out, you still have a chance to win the Big 12. You're going to need some help. I know that. But you win the bowl game, that's another 10-win season. Yeah. I mean, if when Coach Kenny first took over, if you would have said he's going to have back-to-back double-digit win seasons in years 2 and 3, would you take that?
Yeah, and I always try to caution Sun Devil fans. It's like, okay, so I was there in school in '96, Rose Bowl year '97. It was the Sun Bowl. It was a step back. Jake was gone. A lot of those guys were gone. But then decades and decades of just uncertainty, not very many wins. Like, if I were to tell you that Kenny Dillingham comes in here and this team is an 8-win plus every year, and you're going to complain, don't complain to me about that.
Yeah, no.
This what he did last year, it was tremendous. And then this year, the injury bug is hit. It's disappointing. The Mississippi State game was disappointing the way it ended. But I'm glad that fans are continuing to show up because they realize that he's not selling you, fool's gold here. This is real, and this is sustainable. So as long as the fan base sustains, I think this team can sustain. But you're right; they have winnable games coming up, and he's finding ways to win with Jeff Sims at quarterback, and you lose Ben Coleman, who's your super senior center, and all these things that have gone on, and you'll see it here in a second. It's like he's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah. Hey, you talked about, he's done a good job in not only, managing the ebbs and flows of a season, but bringing in the right type of kid. He even said, we say no more than we say yes, because they want to bring in the right type of character in a person, right? In a player. Yeah, they want talented players, but they want good people as well. And that's where he created that Pat Tillman Leadership Council, right? And that's a group of kids that are leaders of the team that embody the characteristics of Pat Tillman, right? Commitment to community, leadership as a player, service. And he picks these guys, and they lead by example. Yes. And it's a really interesting list. And you talked about the injury. So here's a look at, at the players on the Leadership Council, right? You got Jordan Tyson there. You got Alford. You got Sam Levitt. You got Ben Coleman.
Also intelligent players, too.
Exactly, right? Good character players. Intelligent players. And then also, when you look at the number of these guys, right? The number of leaders that are injured, that have been injured, here you look at the list now. It's like, wow, that right there goes to show you how big of a hit this team has taken, and the fact that they're still winning, despite losing 1, 2, 3, 4 major players. One of them, Jordan Tyson, was going to be an NFL player, Mark. Yeah, that just goes to show the rest of these guys have bought in too.
That and the fact that those 4 guys, even though I hated putting an X through them when we built that, but
he did it.
I did it just to prove a point, to give you a little bit of a shock value. But they're still leading.
Yeah,
they're not playing, but they're still leading, and they're still helping everybody else become the better version of themselves, the best version of themselves, because they still want the team to win. And there's so many times in sports, and I see it even, when my daughter plays club sports and stuff, that there are players still out there that's the me game. It's feel bad for me, and now that I'm not playing, the team can't win, and it's over. Well, no. What can you do to help your team, even if you're not on the court or you're on the floor or you're on the field? Yeah. There's still things that you can do to impact. Who knows if Sam Levitt's not sitting down with Jeff Sims going, hey, listen, I know you're more of a running quarterback, so if you see this front and they do this, you got this alley, you take off. Right. There's more than one way to win a game other than being on the field. You can help in other ways, and these guys are the epitome of it. And, even guys like C.J. Fight, I think about, like, when have we had, like, really good D tackles and D linemen that we talk about, that's like we talk about in the same vein as a Pat Tillman. Like, it's a household name.
Yeah.
That's what these guys have done. They built that.
Yeah, and I think it started with Trent Bourget, too. Like, even when he wasn't the starter, he was like an extra coach out there, coaching up the other quarterbacks. And that's when you know that these guys are engaged. They don't not only care about, the position, they care about the team, they care about the outcome of the game. It's really cool to see. And Coach Kenny kind of talked about the character that these guys have and the injuries and how they've dealt with it. And of course, Coach Kenny, you always, real talk with him, that's for sure. So this is what he had to say here.
Our leadership council runs our team. This is their football team. They're the head coach. They run it. And they're the reason that, the program's turned completely upside down from where it was 3 years ago. It wasn't me. It was 100% them. And so I just want people to understand, this program is not Kenny Dillingham. This program is player-driven. It is the players. It is the fans showing up and selling out games. That's what wins in college football. Coaches are not nearly as valuable as everything else, right? So our players are the forefront of our program.
I love that, right?
Yeah.
Our players are the forefront. Because all week I've been giving him credit for bringing in these players, right? And being part of the culture change. But see, that's a great coach where he says, no, it's these guys. And it's true because the coach can only be there so often, right? It's kind of like when the camera's not on.
Yeah.
Are you still training?
That's it.
When nobody's watching, what are you doing? When no coach is around, it's just you and your teammates. What are you doing? How are you leading?
Yep.
And how are you acting? And I think you could tell that these guys, they're like, no, man, that's not how we do things here.
Yeah.
And it's starting to carry on to the other players.
Well, and it's funny that you brought up Trent Bourget because it's like, he was one of those guys that fully bought in, knew he wasn't the most talented, but knew he could contribute in different ways, and he's made an impact. And I feel like that's like us.
Yeah.
We knew we weren't going pro.
Right.
We knew we weren't going to play sports our whole lives, but we found our lane, and now we're able to talk about these things and help people kind of see the big picture, because I know fans sometimes can be very narrow-minded and like they just see what's right in front of them. But it's like there's a lot that goes into this, and I think the thing with ASU's program, and you're talking about Kenny Dillingham, is that the public can see that this is real.
Yes,
and that's again why I think people rally around it.
Right. And Mark talked about us not going pro. If you read my Twitter bio, I write been at Fox 10 since 2003, and I love it. Decided to become a sportscaster when I decided not to go pro. And that was back in the 7th grade when I realized I didn't have the talent to go pro. So very good point.
Right.
But when you look at these next 3 games, right? West Virginia's sneaky.
They've gotten better.
Right.
They have.
Yeah. Colorado, beatable team.
Yes.
U of A.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
But it's a home game, which helps.
Right. So they could go 3 wins here. That's 9.
Yeah.
Win the bowl game. That's 10. I'm really anxious and curious to see that Colorado game because I don't think Jordan Tyson's playing this weekend. If you can save him, save him. But I think he really wants to play that Colorado game because he was on that Colorado team. He was on that program before Deion came, and Deion said, "Pack your bags because I'm bringing my Louis."
That's right.
And brought his players. So, man, you got to know
he wants to get back at him.
Got to, right?
Yeah, but again, the fine line there is, and I think Kenny's done a good job of this, of holding guys out if he feels he can win a game without them to preserve them. So. One, I think Kenny loves Jordan Tyson and doesn't want him to get further hurt going into the NFL because you don't want to hurt this kid's chances at his livelihood. No. But at the same time, like you said, Jordan Tyson is probably like a dog, just let me go, let me go. And now I'm gonna, I want to prove to these guys that they made a mistake letting me walk out the door.
Yeah, and we talk about the culture. We've talked about this leadership council. We talk about the character of kids that they brought in. We got to talk about Jeff Sims. Yes. In that same mold, right? Yes. Because when you got to remember, it was him and Sam Levitt last year, right? Battling for the starting spot. We didn't know who the starter was till really Camp T closed. So he was in the mix, and he didn't transfer last year.
Right.
He came back this year, comes in, shatters the school record for rushing by a quarterback in one game, and now you can see these kids have rallied around him. What a great story.
Well, it's almost like if you remember back in the Taylor Kelly, Mike Bercovici era.
Yeah, good point. Very good comparison.
Bercovici got beat out. Taylor Kelly had a great year, but then Bercovici knew, okay, if I stick around, I'm gonna be the starter. And then the Jail Mary happened, and he's part of Sun Devil lore forever.
Right.
And now Jeff Sims is part of Sun Devil lore forever for that one game. And maybe that's the only game he pops, but I think he's better than that. I think he'll have a good rest of the season in a bowl game.
Yeah.
But it's a testament to these kids that say, you know what, I'm going to stay because this is a great program. It's a great fit for me. And I'm learning life skills, not just football.
Yes.
And I'm prepping myself for life after football.
Yeah. And who knows, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a couple looks from NFL teams.
Yeah.
Because when you look at his skill set
Mm-hmm.
and the way he plays and the way he can run and still throw,
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing him as my backup if I got Lamar Jackson.
Well, I heard people saying that the ASU was running the Cam Newton offense with him.
Right.
Just hike it and let him run quarterback draw. I mean, you get down inside the 5-yard line in the NFL and he's a big guy as a backup quarterback, why not?
Yeah.
He could be on a roster.
Right. And if you got, when you look at, several offenses, NFL offenses that play to his skill set, like I just mentioned, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, Marcus Mariota has been a perfect, backup for Jaden Daniels because of the similar in the styles.
And think about how many NFL quarterbacks we hear that are backups where we're like, where'd that guy go to college?
Yeah.
Where's he from? Because you don't know.
Right.
And Jeff Sims could be one of those guys that like, well, who's this guy? I thought Sam Levitt was the quarterback there. Oh, he was the backup. Oh, he can do this.
But he started, at NC State.
Listen, Ryan Fitzpatrick made a career off of being back. Chase Daniels made a career off of being a career backup. You could make a pretty good living.
Right. And if you catch lightning in a bottle and you get in the right situation, look at Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's really added to his value. He came to town with a 1-year, $10 million deal.
Yep.
But if the Cardinals don't bring him back next year, if they ended up drafting somebody, and we haven't even got on the Kyler Murray situation, somebody's going to want to check out Jacoby Brissett when you look at what he's done.
Well, and he's a steady NFL quarterback. Like when we watch those games now, it looks like an NFL game. The ball is snapped. Everything happens. Boom, ball comes out. Plays over. It's like clockwork. Yeah. And it's not unpredictable.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
and if you're an offensive lineman, okay, hold my block for X amount. If you're a receiver, blah, blah, blah.
I mean, look at those. When he hits Trey McBride in stride, it's like McBride makes his move, boom, ball's there, out, boom, touchdown.
Well,
it's great.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch.
Let's see how they look against San Francisco.
Hopefully better than Seattle.
Hopefully better than Seattle. And we'll be back to talk about it next week. So thanks for watching because we're going to keep talking. Have a good night, everybody.